Hey. What's going on, everybody? It is January 4th, 2023, and today I am going to help you find your purpose, right? We're going to talk about a lot of different steps that you can use to discover your life's meaning. And I want to first talk to you about, what gave me this idea. Well, if you haven't noticed, if you haven't experienced it, I'm sure a lot of you have. It just feels like there's a lot going on in the world right now, right? Be it good, be it bad. It's just a lot. And everyone is handling it differently, right? It's affecting you differently. And it may even cause you to lose your purpose, lose your meaning in life. So I'm here to help you try to get that back. So we're going to talk about some steps that you can take. There's about 8 main steps that I really want to focus on. And as we move forward, if there's anything specific that you would like to talk about, then we can most certainly do that. If you don't know me, I am Tyrone E. Wilson. You can find me at Ty Wilson21 on all the major platforms. I'm on YouTube a lot. I'm on Twitter quite often and Instagram. So those would be the main 3 platforms that you can find me at. And another thing, I want to let you know that in the thumbnail that you're looking at, that was the weekend I actually found my purpose. And, we're going to talk about that in a bit, and maybe it could provide you some assistance on how to do that for yourself. All right. So, one thing that I want to focus on first is your past, right? You are a reflection of all of the events that have happened to you in the past. And you are essentially reacting to all of those events. All of those events have affected you in some way, shape, or form, right? So when you think about the past, there are things that bring you joy, there's things that bring you pain, there's things that, still affect you emotionally to this day, and sometimes even physically to this day. There may be a scar or something that you can see. There may be a scar that you can't see, that you know is there, but no one else knows is there. I feel like one of the things that you can do is harness all of that, be it good, be it bad. All of those experiences made you who you are. You are still here today, still standing, still strong. So that is the thing that you can lean on first, right? You are here, right? That means that there's really not much that you can't accomplish, right? You have to remember that there's reasons for all those things to happen. You may not agree with them all, but all of those things got you to where you are today. All of the decisions that you made got you to where you are today. And a decision that you make right now can be something that sets you up for the future, to where in the future you will look back to this moment, which would be your past, which would help you go in a new direction. Right? So, reflecting on the past, your past is your past, it is history. It does not mean that um, it does not mean that it has to continue to be that way. There are some things that you have the ability to change. You do have the ability to not let your past continue to affect you in a negative manner, right? There are some things that you can glean from there that you can hold on to for positive moments and throw all the negative stuff in the trash. Trust me, holding on to that negativity does not help at all. Um, as a matter of fact, the more that you could throw away, it's like walking with this weighted vest on with a bunch of different weights. The more that you can address, the more that you can throw away those childhood traumas um, and things of that nature, the lighter your walk on this earth will be. Let's move it on to the second one. The second one is identify your values, right? There are things that you're going to stand for. I was a military man 20 years, so there's things that they tried to beat into us, right? So I believe the acronym was leadership or something like that. So it was loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, pride. There's going to be some values that are um, true to you. There's going to be some things that you feel that you probably will never let go. Some things that you stand for, the way that you treat people, the way that you act in public, the way that you want to present yourself, right? There will be some positive values that stand out more than others. I feel like you can definitely hold on to those values, especially the positive ones, and stick by them. They made you who you are. They're going to continue to make you who you are. And those are the things that, you will be known for. So you need to think about, what do you want the people to know you for when it comes to your values, and stand on them strong. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, those are the ones to stick with. Number three, identify your strengths. This may be a tough one. I know, like it may be a tough one, but there are some things that you are really, really good at. Um, you may not know it yet. There may be some things that you may think is a quirk about you, but it's actually something that is really good about you. There's things that you do a whole lot better than others, right? If you need to sit down and write those things down, then by all means, write those things down. If you have trouble identifying your strengths, I don't want to get into the next topic yet, but find some things that you are really, really good at, right? And those are the things that you can groom to help you have some additional strengths about you. Strengths can be um, emotion, it can be something physical, it can be a talent, it can be some things that you feel, some things that you can sense. There can be some empathy, that could be a strength. Emotional intelligence could be a strength. Wisdom could be a strength. Your ability to lead, those are all strengths. Those are all some things that people would look up to you for. Um, Next, we have identifying your passions. And what I mean by passions is, there's some things that you yearn for, right? There are things that you feel so strongly about that you can't seem to let it go. And those passions could be anything. For me in particular, my passion to help people. Um, it's just one of those things that I feel really, really strongly about. I feel like, it was something that I was meant to do. I feel like, it was something that was bestowed upon me based on some things that I have experienced in the past that have allowed me to have this ability to be compassionate and speak for others, right? So those are some of the things that I'm passionate about. Um, if you're still struggling, you can think about what your goals are, right? I'm pretty sure, you may have had some goals as a child that may have changed over time that you may feel that are unattainable. I want to tell you that a lot of them aren't, right? Like if you're thinking about traveling to the sun, then of course that has never happened. But you know, uh, I don't want to say that it can't, but if it's not that extreme, I'm sure that you have some goals that you wanted to accomplish, and I feel like you should still move towards accomplishing those goals, right? Even if they're really, really small. Those would be some things that, you can check off. You end up feeling really, really good about yourself. And, those would be some things that will motivate you, right, into discovering what your meaning in life is for. Um, for instance, I had a goal of um, having 10,000 people in my meetup group. And as an example, um, I started a cybersecurity meetup group back in January of 2012. And in my first meetup, only 3 people showed up. Matter of fact, it might have been 6. And, there was a time where I thought it was never going to happen. But when it comes to your goals, when it comes to moving towards your goals, um, you kind of have to treat that like a 401k. You know what I mean? As long as you're contributing to it, right, it's going to pay off in the end, right? And then you'll end up learning about compound interest. So the more that you put in, the more that you continue to put in, the more that it's going to give back to you. So when it comes back to the meetup group example, um, I distinctly remember celebrating getting 100 total people in the group. And it took me 9 months to get 100 people in the group. So over time, as I mentioned the compound interest, we started getting 100 people monthly to join the group. And now, we have almost 200 or so RSVPs to every single one of our events. And it's been 10 years. And there's times where I wanted to give up. There's times where, I wanted to let it go. But quitting wasn't one of my values. Being patient was one of my strengths. And the desire to help people was one of my passions. So I continued on with the group. And a funny thing, as I look at the stats of the people that were joining the group, as I look at the stats by month over the course of the year, over the course of the years, um, funny thing is, the success of the group and the amount of people that were joining were a direct reflection on how my life was going, which is really, really weird. Um, so there were times where I was doing really, really well in life. Group was amazing. And there were times where, I've had some down moments in life, and I could see that, you know, it reflected in the numbers of the group. So yeah, we're down to our last 2 things. The very last. Oh no, we have 3 more. Um, the very next one is practice mindfulness. If you don't know, I am a huge mental health advocate. Um, I was diagnosed with PTSD due to my experiences in the military. And, you know, one of the things I feel that have helped me was really, really understanding how my mind works and being okay with it. Um, by mindfulness, I mean it's okay to not be okay. It's okay if you need to step away. It's okay if you need to take 20 minutes or so once or twice a day just to be with yourself, just to give your mind a break. You could practice meditation. Um, I think the form of meditation that I was a big fan of, I believe it's called transcendental meditation. And what that's supposed to be is you go to a few classes and you have a trainer, an instant instructor, and that person's supposed to give you a word. And that word is only supposed to be for you. And during your meditation, that word is the thing that you focus on. For me, what I would do is I would set a timer for 20 minutes. And what I would do is I would listen to the sound of me exhaling. And then that would be my focus. And there would be times where, you know, I would have all of these thoughts racing around in my brain, and I would still be excited, it'd still be wired. And then there would be times where, I would fall asleep, and I was doing some research on all that, and I felt like I wasn't doing it right. I wasn't meditating properly. But what I found out is that, when you're thinking all of these thoughts during your meditation process, it's actually your brain trying to dump all of those things out. So, you know, it ends up being a good thing. And then if you fall asleep, it could mean that you've reached peak meditation prowess, if that's if that's what you want to call it. Um, so let's review, right? We talked about reflecting on your past. We talked about identifying some of your values. We talked about your strengths. We talked about finding some things that you are passionate about. We talked about your goals and practicing mindfulness. The very next thing is to explore new things. I'm sure that there's some things out there that you haven't tried yet that may bring you joy. There may be some things that are in you that you feel growing, right? You feel it. Explore that. There may be something that you're leaning towards, or something that's been on your mind for weeks, days, months. Go seek that out. You know, that could be your calling. It may be a place to visit. I know for me, I feel like Africa has been calling me. I don't know where yet, um, but definitely Africa has been calling me. There's the seven wonders of the world. They've kind of been calling for me as well. I can't really explain it. It may be a spiritual thing, it may be a mental thing, but it's calling me. So I feel like I gotta go, or I feel like I at least need to make the attempt to go and explore those things. Um, in the past, you may have seen a video of me going to Lebanon, Kansas. What's in Lebanon, Kansas? Um, Lebanon, Kansas is the geographical center of the world, center of the United States. And there's literally nothing there but a plaque that says the geographical center of the United States. And I had this strange, matter of fact, I'm not even going to call it strange. I had this desire to just go to the center of the United States and just stand there and just stand there. And it was a desire that I feel was just specific to me. And that was something that was calling me. And, the videos on my channel, I explain a lot more there. But long story short, I ended up going to a wedding, got invited to a wedding, my good friend Craig, in Denver, Colorado. No, it was Vail, Colorado. So I got into Denver and drove to Vail, Colorado. And then I looked on the map and I said, I think I'm close enough to drive to Lebanon, Kansas. And I got in the car and I drove to Lebanon, Kansas, and I just stood there. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do it was, um, I was going through some things in life, um, mental health. And, I said to myself, I've given my entire adult life to my country because I was in the military ever since I was 18. And I said, I want to go to the middle of my country and just stand there. But what I realized was it was almost like an analogy of my life and where I was going. And what it meant to me was I'm in the middle, right? I can go in any direction that I want now that I'm here. So it also means that I can go in any direction that I want for my life. And no matter what direction I go, because I'm in the middle, every step is going to be a step towards something new, something that I want to accomplish in my life, something that I'm choosing to step towards. I'm the one making the decision to move in this direction. So I feel like, even though it may seem strange from the outside looking in, that moment really, really gave me a lot of power. It gave me a lot of power um, to allow me to determine how I am going to move in my life, and to let me know that I am the one that is in absolute control in what direction I'm going to move. Boom. All right. And the very last thing, in case you're all still struggling, seek guidance. You know, in the military, we say seek buddy or medical aid. That's always the last step in evaluating a casualty, or essentially anything. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach out to someone that you trust. Um, I'm here. I'm sure you have some adults that you trust, people with wisdom that you trust. Ask them. You know, um, they have been on this earth. They have seen some things. I'm sure that they will be more than willing to provide you some guidance, and they would be more than willing to lend a helping hand. All right, so we talked about all those things. Now I want to talk about the meaning behind the picture in the thumbnail, and how I was able to determine my purpose, and uh, you know the meaning um, for my life. Um, it gets easier and easier uh, to talk about this, but that weekend I ended up going to a wedding in Jamaica, and I got there early because I don't know what I was thinking about, but I was looking at the dates. I ended up getting there like 2 days before everyone else. So I'm in Jamaica. Um, I get off the plane in Jamaica, and I see that my airport. I see that the hotel that I'm staying at is in walking distance of the airport, Montego Bay. So I travel light. We were gonna have the wedding on the near the beach anyway. So it was just me, my book bag, my shades, walking down the streets of Jamaica, walking like I've been there my entire life. And I had prepped a lot during that time just to be there in that moment. So I sacrificed a lot of weekends because I was teaching on the weekends. So I really didn't have much free time, but I remember planning to go to this wedding. And as I was walking down the street, you know, I just had a moment to myself where, I said to myself, all of that work, all of that maneuvering that I did to get here has paid off. And now I'm here in Jamaica. I'm here early, but it means I get to just chill. And I remember walking down the street, had a spiritual moment where I said, God, um, anyone that's looking over me right now, um, thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you for allowing me to accomplish all of the things that I wanted to accomplish in life, good health, all that stuff. And, I just want to ask for one more thing. I said, I want to ask you to help me have a better relationship with you, as well as have a better relationship with, some of my family and ancestors that have, passed, that are no longer with us. And I kept walking to my hotel room. I believe the very next day, there was like a little bar area, like on the pier. So where you see that picture. And when I looked out over the sunset, I saw like the sun. And I remember taking a selfie, but I remember seeing the sun in the background, and it can't really explain what it meant, but it meant a lot to me in that moment. And I remember reaching back, thinking that I can grab the sun, basically saying to myself, the world is mine. Like I can pretty much do whatever I want to do. All right. So moving forward, uh, during the wedding, there was a lull in the wedding. And, you know, I'll admit it. I ate one of the brownies while we were waiting for the wedding to start. And I don't know what I was thinking. That's really not my thing. So it really, really hit me. Like it hit me like nothing I've ever felt before. To a point to where I feel like I had a conversation with a higher being. Um, there was really no words spoken, but I had a conversation. Um, I remember feeling like I was on the brink of death. I remember feeling like I did die. I remember feeling like I wasn't at a wedding, but I was at a celebration of my life. Um, I remember reading a book called The Shack about the Holy Trinity. So I felt like there was members of the wedding party that was the Holy Trinity. And it ended up being um, the groom's sister, uh, moms, and one of the dudes at the party who I felt, was Jesus. So I remember talking to them saying, you guys are this is the Holy Trinity. I'm actually going to meet my ancestors right now. And I said, and that means, and then when I pointed towards the doorway, the dude walked in and I said, yep, this is it. um, and it was an emotional moment. And he reached out his hand and it was like, hey, are you ready to go? In my mind, I'm thinking these are my answers, my ancestors coming to take me to Valhalla or whatever, to heaven. And it was just them asking me if I was okay or was ready to go back to the wedding. So I had this emotional moment where I said, yeah, um, I guess I am ready to go. I was teary eyed and everything. And I started walking out with them. And, I took 4 or 5 steps and I got kind of belligerent. It was like, get off me, get off me, get off me. Like, I'm not ready to go. There's still a lot of things that I need to live for. And I remember them taking me like to the bathroom, and I was in the bathroom, and um, that's when the conversation started. That's when things started getting worse. That's when I started, you know, speaking to this higher being, saying, if you just allow me to be what I am meant to be, I promise to be that. And the decisions was that I am meant to be the best father that I could possibly be to my daughter, and to be a voice for the voiceless. Yeah. Um, I feel like there are some things that have affected me mentally and emotionally um, in the past, but I also feel like those things hardened me and gave me the ability to do some of the things that I can do today, like provide talks like this, be it mental health education, be it educating the masses with a talent that I'm passionate about, um, cybersecurity. I've been doing that for almost 20 years. And I feel like I have been able to go through all of these steps, identify my values, strengths, goals, being able to explore new things, the mindfulness. And I was able to get to a point where I'm feeling complete, where I'm feeling like I've almost figured out life. And I wanted to help other people get there as well. And, you know, that's my story. So I know we did a quick 30 minutes. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask away. Leave a question in the comments. I promise to get back to you. We do have one from Marriott, so I'll just address that question really quick. Sorry about the sirens in the background, and then we will call it a show. So Marriott's question is, how do you deal with wanting to explore too many things at the same time? I feel like that's normal. I feel like you do have a lot of things that you want to explore. You do have a lot of passions. I feel like what you can do is write them down, find the ones that are easily attainable or the most attainable, and then start knocking them out. You know what I mean? Start knocking them out. As you start to knock them out, reward yourself. You know, reward yourself. It'll make you feel a whole lot better about um, accomplishing these things that you want to do. We have one more from Business Now that says, have you ever given yourself permission to forgive yourself for past traumas or your past? Wow. That is a really, really profound question. Like it really, really hits home. And I'll just read the question again. It says, have you ever given yourself permission to forgive yourself for past traumas or your past? Whoo-wee. All right. So to answer that, I have spent some time, you know, forgiving everyone else. And, I've had the ability to, you know, kind of move past it and realize that those things happened. Those things are a part of me. It is what makes me me. Without those things, I am not me. Therefore, I'm not going to complain about them. It's just something that happened. I have recently um, started saying to myself that it is okay for me to have felt that way. And I don't have to feel bad about feeling how I felt. So, to answer your question, yes, you know, I have wholeheartedly given myself permission to forgive myself for past traumas. Whoo! Yes. Hello, Tiffany. How you doing? One more statement. Now have you given yourself permission to live today and embrace the new you? Yes. Yes, I have totally identified, who I am, who I'm supposed to be, my purpose. I do understand that that may change, but with the way that I'm feeling right now, I'm riding with that feeling. You may have heard me say things like God didn't put me here to fail, you know, and there are things that I'm going through right now at this moment, but I feel like situations in my past have literally prepared me for this moment and is allowing me to be who I am in this moment and be really, really good at it. Um, for more details on that, I had to talk about the 5 stages of grief. And then I also had a talk with Jay Sean Durham about, I think it's called um, adulthood, living through adulthood while grieving, or something like that. So yeah, yeah. All right, it's been 35 minutes. I want to thank you all for joining me. I really, really hope that I was able to provide some insight on some things. Maybe in the future we can go into detail about something specific. If there's anything specific that you would like to talk about, just let me know. Um, thank you all for the support. And if you feel like this could help someone, just feel free to share it. All right. Good night, everybody.